Let's move on to another controversial candidate, shall we say, the Republican side. You got Donald Trump still out there in the lead. But the story is, in fact, also about some of the candidates out there who have never held political office before. You got Carly Fiorina, you got Ben Carson. They're both rising up through the ranks. Can they take on Trump? Fox News' Peter Barnes has all the numbers for us. And the surprise seems to be from Ben Carson here, moving into second place. Also, Carly Fiorina really gaining some steam.
Yeah, that's right, Trish. Ben Carson, one of the big winners in the new Fox News poll, the first from Fox News since that GOP debate 2 weeks ago. Trump still tops his rivals in the Republican race with 25% of likely Republican voters saying they'd like him as their nominee. That's about the same as the Fox News poll in July. But post-debate, Carson jumped the most in the new poll with 12% and took over second place from Jeb Bush. Ted Cruz also jumped in the poll. Bush dropped into single digits, down 6 points, and into fourth place. Scott Walker slipped as well and is tied with Mike Huckabee. And Carly Fiorina, as you mentioned, she jumped 3 points to 5%. Trish?
Interesting stuff. So as we watch Trump there hold steady, I'm asking, Mark, do you think he's actually got a real shot at winning this thing?
Trish, look, first of all, if you take a look at the polling and you take a look at the top contenders with this recent poll just out, what it shows is that over 50% of those polled are supporting an anti-establishment candidate. Trump, Fiorina, Carson, Cruz, they take over half of the electorate in this polling. And that is dramatic. It sends a signal that people are tired of business as usual in Washington and the political class.
Is that also why we're seeing Bernie Sanders gain such momentum, Nomi? It's the same kind of thing on the Democratic side, that people feel fatigued by politicians.
I think they're also fatigued with institutional politics, having the Republican Party and the Democratic Party put up front runners before anybody has a decision or a thought process about the presidential cycle. And that's partly due to super PACs. You know, presidential campaigns are very expensive, so you have to start raising early on. Now, looking at this poll, which I found so interesting, was that Trump came in as the clear loser in the debates, and he only lost 1%, but he lost quite a few women, and he was leading with the evangelicals, and he's still the front runner. So despite his debate performance,
and this is a guy who's not that religious. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's no Mike Huckabee. He's not very religious, and he's leading with evangelicals, which is amazing. Right. Again, speaking to the fatigue people feel with politicians, traditional politicians. Let's talk about some of his policies and whether or not he's going to be able to get the Hispanic vote based on what he has put forward with his immigration plan. I should also point out, by the way, he is at jury duty right now as we speak. He's on lunch break, Donald Trump, that is. He apparently, according to our sources in the courtroom there, turned to a woman next to him and said, wow, you get a 2-hour lunch break. He seemed to be pleasantly surprised. That's government, right? 2-hour lunch break there for jury duty. Anyway, again, back to this immigration plan. He wants to build this border, and he came out with some details over the weekend. He wants to deport 11 million illegal immigrants. Mark Serrano, how does that play with the Hispanics in this country right now?
First of all, Trish, for the record, I do have a relative that just started working for the campaign. But let's talk about the immigration policy. What we're seeing here is unvarnished truths, unvarnished positions. Political correctness has had a stranglehold on Republicans for years. They have become submissive. They've become cowardly because they're concerned about what the media will say about their positions. Senator Jeff Sessions issued a statement in response to Trump's immigration policy supporting it. And so if you take a look at it, and first and foremost, he and other candidates are saying we need to build a wall and we need to focus on that first and foremost. The other, what happens is the media gets us into a discussion, or the left gets us into a discussion about what do we do with the 11 million people? You know what? We need a wall first. In terms of his policy saying we will keep families united, but they have to go, look, they got here illegally. We are not a nation if we don't have principles of the Constitution to stand by our border, to have a secure border.
Yeah,
we don't.
Nomi, others would say, what about being a nation of compassion? You have parents who are here, who have had children here. Do you suddenly then send all of those families back?
No, it's irresponsible. It's not even realistic. I mean, here you go again. You're blaming the media. You're blaming the left. You're blaming everybody, but you're not taking action. You know, immigration reform, comprehensive immigration.
That's action.
Okay, we went through this in the 90s when Pat Buchanan brought brought this up.
Underground wall.
And it didn't work. Like, every expert who knows anything about immigration knows that the wall doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Third, you haven't built the wall yet.
I'm
First
from
of all,
Arizona. I'm very familiar with immigration policies. Trust me, it's not working when you have drug dealers building tunnels.
You have
You've got
executive orders. You have policy of the federal government from the Obama administration
so what are you going to do about
allowing people to pour across
states like
this border?
Nevada, Arizona, California, Texas, all Republican strongholds right now who rely on
It's not a state responsibility. The federal government is supposed to secure our border. And Trish,
in Tucson,
let's
Arizona,
talk about compassion for families.
The economy will be hurt
Let's talk
drastically
about
when
compassion.
you have a third of citizens.
Naomi, let's talk about that compassion for families,
Yeah.
because I think, you know, on one level, it's politically quite viable to say, you know, look, we've got standards, and you come here legally or you don't. The problem is some of these people have had children here. A lot of these people have had children here, so it makes it harder to send them back. And let's face it, a lot of these people, Mark, are very hardworking people that have come here, that have done everything they can to try and be part of the system, that want to be American. And let's face it, we don't make it easy, even for the most talented and the most hardworking.
Trish, you know who else who comes across with those hardworking people? Are criminals who've been deported several times. Let's talk about compassion for the family of Kate Steinle, who was murdered in San Francisco a month ago. That's the compassion we should be talking about.
Somebody who's born here or came in at 6 months old is by all means American. Doesn't have access to
3,000 Texans since 2009 have been killed by illegal criminal aliens in Texas. What about compassion for those families?
Okay, well, we have
That's the compassion we should focus on.
We actually do have laws. Now, are they being effectively used right now?
They're
Probably
abandoned.
not.
They've been abandoned by the federal government.
That's a different conversation. We're talking about comprehensive immigration reform. The toothpaste tube has already been opened up. The toothpaste is out of the tube.
We tried it. We tried it in 1986.
You can't just send back 11 million people. You can't just send back 11 million people. What about someone who came over at 6 months old, is American, went to American schools?
See, you want to talk about that, Naomi, because you don't want to talk about a wall. You say a wall won't work. You haven't even tried a wall.
Well, first thing, immigration has gone down drastically over the past 8 years since the economy has been hurting.
Democrats
so that's not even relevant anymore.
Let me jump in for a minute, because I want to share with you what Governor Chris Christie had to say about all this. Listen here.
If you look at Donald's plan, it's essentially the same thing that he's been saying all along. It's nothing new. He's going to build a wall and get the Mexicans to pay for it. I mean, I think, listen, we have a huge problem at our border. We need to address it, but it can't be addressed just with a wall. That's not going to fix the problem. I've never seen a wall that really determines human beings can get over, under, or around.
So there you go. Naomi,
it's called the Great Wall of China.
on your side. Great Wall of China. No, but she makes a very valid point here, Mark, and that's that if there are people that want to get around this, they will. We have seen this with the drug cartels. They find a way to get in here. We've seen this elaborate tunnel system that they are creating into San Diego. And, you know, a wall, it only goes so far. It has to be comprehensive, and you're going to need a lot much more than just a wall. Mark, I got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me today, Naomi. Thank you so much.